First, proximity.
What the virus is trying to do is transfer itself from somebody's nose or mouth to somebody else's nose or mouth. And the easiest way for that virus to do so is just going there directly.
This typically happens through droplets. When we talk, respiratory droplets can jump from you to another person, but only if you're close.
That fluid droplet is a little bit heavy, and it's going to fall within 3 feet if somebody isn't there to catch it. And it's not only 3 feet next to you, it's 3 feet before and behind you as well.
That's why the CDC recommends people keep a distance of at least 6 feet from each other. That cheering or yelling can propel infection-seeding droplets beyond 3 feet. Like a sneeze, the force of a scream can also create much smaller particles called aerosols. These are lighter, so they can linger in the air for more time and travel further.
The stadium setting is really conducive for that because it's not only about the one-time immediate risk, it's the amount of hours of contacts. So even though the one-time aerosol is not going to do much in the real world, you have like constantly people shouting over many hours. At some point, the cumulative risk is going to be greater than the actual individual risk of the act itself.
In other words, the more exposure, the higher the chance you'll be infected. That brings us to the next important risk factor, prolonged contact. Not every interaction results in getting an infection.
It's very unlikely for 3 people sitting next to each other closely in the stadium to give it to each other in a domino effect because the virus has to incubate in the second person first before that second person can then transmit it to the third person. And incubation usually occurs within 7 days.
But games last for hours, and that gives the virus plenty of opportunities to succeed in spreading from one infected person to several healthy people in their vicinity. On February 19th, before the coronavirus had really taken hold in Italy, a soccer match filled the stadium in San Siro. While it's very difficult to pinpoint the game as the key moment of transmission, 2 weeks later, coronavirus cases in the Lombardy region shot up. Experts have pointed to matches like that as potential super spreader events. Fans want to hug, fist, and chest bump and revel in the emotion of the game over and over again.
So you're touching somebody's hand with a high five, and even if you're able to stay away during that high five, you're going to be potentially contaminating your hands, and then when you touch your face, you're wiping that sweat away, you're going to be introducing potential virus into your nose or your mouth.
Contaminated surfaces are another key risk factor, and it's not just body parts. Think bathrooms, concession stands, bleachers, hand railings, shared food and beverages, and the containers they come in. Tens of thousands of people can touch some of these objects and smear them with virus that can end up on someone's hands and then face. This indirect mode of infection is known as fomite transmission. While scientists think it's less efficient than direct transmission through droplets, contaminated surfaces abound in stadiums. You might be able to control your own hygiene and wear your own mask. But what about the thousands of fans in seats around you? With COVID-19, there's a fair amount of asymptomatic transmission. So people who don't feel sick are more likely to show up to games and then spread the virus. Without widespread testing, it's harder to identify mild cases and isolate them.